Hey, I'm Brian Van.
I'm Max Van.
And today we're going to recap MotoAmerica Supersport 2025 round number
3 at MotoAmerica in Wisconsin. All right, before we get into the details on the race recap, I just want to give a huge shout out to all the folks that are helping me fulfill my dreams. Of course, you guys who have been buying from us over at Sportbike Track here throughout the past 20 years of us being open. Fahad Khan and the boys over at Precision Track Days, thank you. Nate Phipps over at Two Wheel Dyno Works. Kyle at M4 Exhaust. My dad for building the kick-ass motorcycle. Man, Suzuki, Vision Wheel, Chris and John Ulrich over there. My data guy, Jimmy. Again, said M4 Exhaust. Man, there's so many. There's Tech Spec, there's SBS, there's Vortex Racing, there's Hot Bodies Racing. My boy Rick Choate over at Helmet House supported me with some badass CD boots. Bo from MotoAmerica's, RST, of course, my own company, Racer Gloves. All you guys out there, I appreciate it so much, and I'm excited to finish off the rest of the season.
Sometimes we talk a long time when we do these, so maybe we should give people the really quick highlights and then we'll talk shit.
We can do that. I'm just going to let you know Wisconsin's a cheese state, and I don't like cheese.
They do have a lot of cheese there. Every time we go there, Mom gets a bunch of cheese curds.
And I don't like cheese. So
I don't eat them.
We'll start off the weekend. The weekend was good. We had pretty good weather all weekend. Not a ton of precipitation, only a little bit. We got there, set up on Thursday with the awesome Vision Wheel M4 S-Star Suzuki team. And then went out for FP1 on, what was it? Friday morning. I don't know where I finished. I think I was 10th.
Okay.
Or no, I think I might have been 9th. Either or, 10th or 9th. I was ninth place, I think. And I was 3 seconds off Mr. Matthew Skoltz.
Yeah, he was rolling right out of the gate. That's kind of been the tone all season long.
Lap record pace in the first session, like half a second off lap record pace. And he was 7/10 ahead of the next rider.
So let's move on to what is probably the highlight of our weekend.
Highlight of the weekend.
Q1. It rained.
It rained.
And if we've done one thing right this year, we've got a tremendous rain setup.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden,
I really like the rain. I'm pretty good in it.
Yeah, those are both true statements. So where did you finish in Q1?
I finished in first, which was pretty cool. Granted, there were only, I think, 7 riders out there in total. There were 2 heavy hitters, and not including myself. There was David Anthony and Blake Davis. But when the rain hit, some people went out, and we kind of chilled. And my dad asked me, he's like, "You want to go out in this?" I'm like, "Well, hell yeah, it's an opportunity." You know, that's what John Ulrich said. You might as well take it. And
actually, your coach, who didn't go out,
Mr. Josh Hayes.
What did Josh always tell us?
He told me, if you complain about all the track time that you don't have, don't skip a session, no matter if it rains or whatever, just so when those conditions are there, you'll have the experience to excel.
And he sat out. So when we go out for rain, right, it's not just, throw the rain tires on and take a little preload out. We have a rain rear shock. It's different ride height, different valving, right? We used to change fork springs, and we stopped doing that.
Yes.
So what we did is, I don't want to give away all the secrets, but we left the springs where they were at in the front. We put the rain rear shock on. We have different rain mapping. Jimmy built all the throttle mapping and stuff, which is pretty cool. Mm-hmm. And then we swapped the tires out. It was kind of a game time decision. It looked like it was going to be dry for the very first part of Q1, so we rolled the bike around the other side of the pit wall.
Yep. And the team was saying, just get a lap in. It's going to start raining immediately, and probably, I'd say, 15 minutes before we actually went out, it started, I wouldn't say pouring, but it was drizzling, and it was really consistent. It was heavy rain. It wasn't
the track was 100% wet. There's no going out on dry, so I started putting the rain tires on it, got that part rocked out, no problem, and then I look at him and ask him, like, "Well, do you want your rain shock, dude?" And what'd you say immediately?
I don't know what I said, but I think I said something like, "Hell yeah."
Like, "Hell yeah, I do."
Yeah.
So it was a highlight, it was good to see. And the lap times you were running, they were, I think, 5 seconds faster than
Blake and David Anthony behind me, which was good because I know they're fast rain riders.
And there was a wet race last year
at MotoAmerica, and I think the best time was, pretty sure PJ did end up doing a high 2:35, but he was the only rider in the 35s from what I recall. I think my best time was a 2:43 from the rain last year, and in a qualifying session without a single rider out there to push me to do any better. Like I wish Matt Skoltz or Josh Hayes or PJ or Corey Alexander or someone was out there that's good in the rain to push me. So when I see I come around and I'm P2 and they're P1, I'm be like, fuck that. I'm going to go P1.
Try better.
It just didn't work like that. PJ ended up doing a 2:35. I did a 2:37.5. In some traffic, I had to make a pass on a rider and I almost got a little moment in the last corner, but I had a lot more to go and I was having
it was cool to see, and they said a lot of cool shit about you because you were flying.
Max Van was inside of the top 10 this morning. So he was right there where we've seen him. He has been able to finish inside of the top 5 previously this season. So certainly on a charging run early on this year compared to years past. But for Max to go back out and to get this many laps in, I wonder if it is a rain confidence that he's working on.
And he just looks really confident in the rain, dragging his knee all the way through the carousel, right here through the really tight chicane. He's able to get a really good run out of this chicane. You see that, just the confidence and to be able to really get on the throttle when he's leaned over.
Yeah, and to be fair, I've never seen Blake Davis go out in any session and just roll over and play dead.
No.
Or David Anthony. Those guys are out there doing laps. They're doing laps, trying to work on stuff, work on their rain setup, work on their riding, work on their wet technique. No. So, for us, that was a highlight.
Yep.
As we can kind of continue through the rest of the weekend, a little bit on the struggle bus, but ended on a really good note.
We learned a lot about how, the bike I like as a rider. We made some changes for qualifying 2 in the morning. Pretty sure I qualified 10th overall, so not too bad, riding with some fast guys. And, we made a change to the bike to where we kind of made it to where it handled like Tyler Scott's bike. And Tyler Scott's setup and I, they're completely opposite. His is set up to something that I like, and mine's set up to something that I like, you know what I mean? And I rode Tyler's bike, basically, and it was good. Was it what I was used to? Not at all, so I was out of my comfort zone, 100%. And then we made an even more drastic change for the race, I think, to make the change more aggressive, since Q2.
We tried to mirror the bikes. We thought.
Tried to mirror.
We spent a lot of time on this. I don't do that stuff. I just turn the screws. People tell me what to do, and I do it. They told me what to do. We did it. It was the most drastic change we've ever made on one of your bikes, ever.
Because, I usually just ride it and figure it out and see.
Well, but we learned something good. So what we did is the change that we made, we put the bike way more on its nose, much more of a front-end bias, as compared to what we were doing. And in race 1, I'll just let the cat out of the bag. You had an uncharacteristic fall.
Yeah.
You don't do a lot of that.
I got a good start. I was in 7th place. I think I was riding, I don't know who I was behind, but I was behind some fast guys in front of me. I think Kayla got a good start out front. And I think
she had a really good race that race.
She did. I was behind Blake or something like that. And, I got a good start. After the carousel, I went into that, what do you want to call it, the chicane, and I threw it into the left. And, I broke a little late, but usually with the setup that I kind of like as a rider, I would have had some modulation on how much brake pressure I could have added and how it would have handled that case scenario. And man, I tried to turn the thing, and it was just on its nose, and it just chattered, and I was sliding backing it in, and I'm like, this is all I got. I'm going to smoke the guy in front of me. So I ran off the track. I went through those little cones, and I was the tire wall. Gave up some time. I think I was probably down to 12th, and I was pretty pissed off at myself. So made some passes, or tried to at least, and on the next lap, I ran off in turn 5 because I had the same problem because I was riding over my head, and I was a little bit pissed off, and I ran off track. A couple laps later, I caught up to the guys in front of me, passed them, set sail, and I was catching up to the battle in front for 6th. I think T. Hobbs was in there, Josh Hayes, my coach, ex-coach, a few other fast riders, Torrin Collins, Kayla wasn't in there, but battle for 6th. And, I had an unfortunate crash going into turn, 8, I think it is, right before the carousel. And, I just tucked the front straight up and down and fell and bike flipped and moved on, and
yeah, don't worry, Dad fixed it. And I love how you're wearing one glove in the video.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what to take away from that, but that's just where we're at right now. So whatever, fix the bike. And then, he sits down with Jimmy, the crew chief, and they're going over this quite a bit. And ultimately what ended up being decided is we basically took his bike back all the way back.
I don't think it was all the way back.
No, it was all the way back where it was. We gave you, he likes a bike with just a tremendous amount of trail. He likes something that's super stable under the brakes, that has good grip out of the corner, stable out of the corner.
It was all the way back for the race. It was not all the way back for warm-up.
Well, yeah, for warm-up, I put you out the triple clamps, unfortunately.
So
they bent easily.
I was riding like this.
Yeah,
so I was riding like this. Dude. So when we're going in a straight line, it wasn't really going straight. It was like this.
Yeah, whatever. Hey, man, it is what it is.
No, that's cool.
How does that happen? So now we're running aftermarket triple clamps, first time ever. These are a lot softer than OEs. Part of the process, because the bike flipped, to make sure the bike is good, there's some measurements, some things you look at. One of the things you do is remove the forks, give them to Barry over at Olin's. He takes a look at them to make sure they're straight, checks the run out and stuff. I pull them out. I'm talking, when I disassemble this, the front axle slides right out. That's smooth. That's a good sign right there. Each fork slid right out, no problem. I got the forks back from Barry. Mm-hmm. He said they're straight as an arrow. They slid right back in. So when I assembled the motorcycle, the expectation was, and I believe with OE triples, which are they're cast versus the machined aluminum, they bent. That's the bottom line. He went out, they bent. I had to replace the upper and lower clamp before we got them out for race 2.
Yep.
We got that stuff done, and we got the setup. We learned a lot, so that's a good spot here. Yep. We learned that you don't need your bike to steer easy.
No. You just kind of, for me, I've never struggled with that. I just kind of make the bike turn. It's not that I'm strong by any means. It's just you kind of look where you want to go and the bike follows, and that's kind of how I feel. It's what he always taught me as a kid, riding snowmobiles or my...
Just keep your eyes up.
Keep your eyes up, and that's the biggest thing, and look where you want to go. And again, for race 1 and Q2, we didn't really... ride based off that, so the bike turned really good. Like there was no, effort trying to make the bike turn, but yeah, it just didn't suit my style, and we've never tested that. But I guess now we know, and yeah.
Probably should have done that in testing and not done that during a race weekend, and that's just that's just where we're at right now with all the work that we do here. It's not a lot of additional time, but hey, we learned a lot, and that's great. So we go out for race 2. We're feeling pretty good about this. The bike was straight after I changed the clamps in between the warm-up and race 2, so he was happy about that. How the process goes is he goes pit out. We're out there waiting with the stands and the tire warmers for him to come up, and when he comes up, he immediately says,
"The front end shatters in a straight line."
Look down. What happened is the tire rotated on the rim. It happens when Dunlop mounts them. They mark them. Maybe a lot of a bead lube was used. I don't know. It turns out we also didn't have the grippy paint on the inside of the rim to help prevent it from rotating. But long story short,
rotated I think that much throughout. I don't know if it was immediate throughout the whole race, but
so now he's obviously a little distraught. Bike's going to be chattering, so that was a bummer.
Yep.
The race started off, and the majority of the race, I'm going to say this. I was in the pit saying I'm going to swipe his credit card and charge him for the 2 tires that he just fucking wasted, okay? Because the lap times he was running, they were
low 19s, and
that was garbage.
Yeah, I've done many 18s before.
And they were garbage. And then the heavens opened up. It didn't rain.
No, it didn't rain.
But Jesus did us a big favor, and poor Josh ended up running off the track.
Yep.
Max sees that, knows Josh is now right behind him, and what do you know about Josh? What's he going to do when he's behind you?
I remember when he was behind me, and he coached a rider named Corey Ventura, and they were battling for a podium position, and Josh passed him, or he was attempted to pass Josh, or one of the two, and Corey, I think he ran off the track. And he grew up kind of teaching Corey as he kind of taught me. And he told me, he's like, I wasn't going to let him have that. And,
ever.
And this time we were battling for a podium. We were battling for 14th place. But yeah, I put 4 good laps together because I knew Josh was behind me. And I set the 8th fastest lap of the race, pushing. And I finished
18-2.
18-2. I finished in 14th. The last lap would have been a little better if Josh didn't stuff my brains out. But whatever, I passed him back and I beat him. So it's really all that matters. But yeah, just goes to show for me. I guess when I have someone who's behind me who's taught me all that stuff, I don't want him to beat me. But all in all, I could have pushed a lot harder from the beginning when the front tire was a little better and there was more grip. The only issue is where I was strong, which was getting on the brakes, I felt like as a rider.
No, it felt like you couldn't.
It felt like I couldn't.
And then you learned that you could. So it was great. He comes into Park Ferme. I'm going to talk shit on you right now. Comes into Park Ferme. I'm like, dude.
Yeah.
I'm like, think about this. You waited till the second to the last lap of the race to run your best lap of the entire fucking weekend.
Yeah.
When the tires were shit compared to the first couple laps. I said, do you realize you could have done that the whole race? He goes, no, I couldn't. You looked over at Jimmy. You said some more words to Jimmy. You look back at me and you go,
I could have.
Yeah.
I'll
You're
admit
like,
to
fuck,
that.
you're right.
I'll admit to that. But where I'm really good at is our passing riders deep under the brakes. And if I'm being honest, as a rider, I wouldn't have been able to do that.
How'd you run the 18-2?
I was just pushing harder on the gas. I realized the front sucked, so I just fucking nutted it coming out of a corner. Excuse my language. And the thing was sliding.
You've already said fuck 10 times in this video. Now you want to apologize.
But yeah, I don't know how I would have passed a rider, especially battling for 6th place, but who knows? It could have happened, but...
Fucking figure it out. That's what you got to do.
Now 11 times.
Damn it.
All right.
I'm sorry for swearing. That's terrible. I've set a bad example for this child, and it's clearly had a very negative impact on his highly limited vocabulary now.
Yeah.
So, good things at the end of the day. When you came off track, I was looking at it like, we learned a lot this weekend.
Yeah.
You got to be atop of a session. Even though not everyone was out there, there's a couple of great riders out there, and the bottom line was there's a lot of cool footage on the app, and they said a lot of nice shit about you.
Yeah.
I thought that was good. I look forward to another race where it does rain a lot.
Yeah, we're going to the Pacific Northwest at the Ridge, and I don't think it's that... I've never ridden in the rain there, ever.
Pavement looks good, though.
It does look good. And last year, it rained at the very end of our race. Like, started sprinkling, and then it rained for Superbike and the hooligan class. So, hopefully for us Supersport guys up in Washington State, we'll get a little lucky. And
every session.
Yeah.
That'd be sick.
It would be sweet. I checked the weather this weekend. It's raining Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So, hopefully next weekend it'll be Friday, Saturday, Sunday as well. Or it's getting out of the way. But either or, we learned a lot for what I like and who I am as a rider and how the bike needs to be set up for me. And then we have a good rain setup as well for full confidence. So when everybody else is shitting their pants in the rain because there's a lot less grip, I'm going to...
Not everybody, but you'll be in the group of people hopefully that aren't.
Maybe 50%. I don't know. But I'm going to be excited and ready to have a good battle with some of the top guys. So
there you have it. Next up, the Ridge in Washington State.
Yep. We want to give a huge shout out to, of course, all you badass SportBikeTracker.com customers. Fahad Khan over at Precision Track Days. My dad for building an awesome bike. Nate Phipps over at Two Wheel Dyno Works and all the guys over there. Spiegler Brake Lines, M4 Exhaust, RST, my boy Rick from Helmet House, supporting us with some badass CD boots. Bo from Arai, I think I said RST, Tech Spec Tank Grips, Hot Bodies Racing, Vortex Racing, Matthias over at Spiegler. Man.
You got two.
Yeah, he got two. Okay, my mind's all over the place, but I appreciate you guys and ready to swing in the Pacific Northwest, like I said 4 times already. So, see ya.